Friends, I know that we're at the top of the hour. If I can beg just 60 seconds to share something that will help us center before I lead our introduction. And welcome to everyone in the space. We're so happy that you're here. I This came to my attention. It's an article that was written in 2019, and it referenced a book that was written by Brene Brown, uh, an author, person that we quote a lot here in the beloved community space. And in this text, Brene tells a story of a village where all of the women in that village washed their clothes at the river. And then when the dawn of washing machines arrived, they all, of course, were excited to have this labor-saving device and started using that. And in conjunction with that, there was a tremendous outbreak of deep depression in that village. And so they began to wonder, what's behind this? Where is this wave of depression coming from? And then they began to realize two very important things. One is that at the river, they were all welcomed. It was a space where everyone had to wash their clothes. That was the place that it happened. So it was a place where they felt like they belonged on a regular basis, right? And the second thing is that everyone there they felt valued in that space. And so when I read this short snippet of the article, I just thought, oh, this reminds me of what one of our hopes is for hosting Beloved Community, is that this is a space where everyone would feel like they belonged and that they were valued. So with that, we can think about, it's like we are washing our clothes down by the river together every time we meet. Christina, it is lovely to see you. It's been a minute. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Okay, friends, I appreciate each of you being here. And with that, Jason, with your permission, I will launch into our introduction. I always love to say that Jason really is the one that makes things go in ELCA coaching.
As if you need my permission.
Right? Oh, always, always. So, dear ones, we want to welcome you to our 238th online gathering for faith leaders across the country, which is now called Creating Beloved Community. And you are an important part of what happens in this space and this creation. This regular gathering is sponsored by ELCA's coaching ministry. I am Jill Beverlin. I use the pronouns she, her, and ella, and I am the Director of Coaching Ministries for the ELCA and honored to be giving the introduction today. And with that, and in attunement with the truth and healing movement of the ELCA and moving toward right relationship with our Indigenous siblings and neighbors, let us begin with a land acknowledgement. We are gathered together from all parts of Turtle Island, also referred to as North America. We are connected by the breath given us by the breath maker and by the very piece of Mother Earth, the land that each of us inhabits today. We understand that all land is Indigenous land, and we invite each of you to name in the chat the Indigenous peoples or tribal nations whose lands you occupy now. We acknowledge the terror of colonialism, genocide, ethnic cleansing, broken treaties, stolen land, forced removal, and boarding schools, as well as the thousands of missing and murdered Indigenous women and children each year, and the ripple effects of violence still being experienced today. We know that Indigenous peoples are not historical subjects, but are part of our communities. They offer invaluable wisdom for how we exist in relationship with Mother Earth, as well as our human and non-human neighbors. It is also important for us to offer a labor acknowledgement, and with permission granted by Dr. Tara T.J. Stewart, we acknowledge that much of what we know of this country today, including its culture, economic growth and development, has been made possible by the labor of enslaved Africans and their ascendants who suffered the horror of transatlantic trafficking, slavery, and Jim Crow laws. We are indebted to their labor and their sacrifice, and we acknowledge the tremors of that violence throughout the generations and the resulting impact that can still be felt and witnessed today. Another vital part of creating beloved community is fostering a sense of belonging. So we encourage you to update your name in Zoom to include your pronouns. This is just one more way we can express welcome for all of God's children. And at any point during these gatherings, you may access the captions option in the Zoom menu on your device. It might also show as an icon with the letters CC in a box. You may need to click on 3 little dots or swipe to a different screen within Zoom to access this option. So let us continue our work toward healing and justice by entering into a place of peace and listening together. Through these regular gatherings, we have developed a covenant of how we enter and interact in this space. We are committed to creating a safer and braver space where each of us are able to bring the truth of who we are and how we are doing. We ask you to honor confidentiality for everything shared in the breakout rooms, and if you share something in the larger space that you wish for us to edit out of the recording, just let us know afterwards. And with all of this said, we affirm these conversations are meant to be an intentional step to live more fully into God's dream for us as the body of Christ, the beloved community. As Bell Hooks wrote in All About Love, rarely, if ever, are any of us healed in isolation. Healing is an act of communion. The first Wednesdays of each month through 2025 will invite us into healing within and through beloved community. And now I invite the Reverend Brenda Smith and Deacon Tammy Devine to lead us in our session today. Welcome to our space.
Yeah. Today. Said I woke up to the summer shining through. Calling on my friends asking what's the move. Feeling a little different, I'm on something new. Today. I ain't gonna let no clouds get in my way. The only road I'm walking is the one I picked. Catch me sitting in the sun, no time for shade. Today. This is the day that the Lord has made. And I ain't gonna let it slip away. I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful. Today. I'm gonna be joyful. Ooh, I'm gonna be joyful. I got that feeling that you get when you get new kicks. Bell ringing on the last day of singing, yeah. High-fiving everybody, but we out of here. Today. So fast, life comes and goes. Make it last, best slow your roll. They don't take it as a choice, but you gotta know that today's the day. This is the day that the Lord has made. And I ain't gonna let it slip away, nah. I'm gonna be joyful. Ooh, I'm gonna be joyful. Tuesday, I'm gonna be joyful. Yes, I am. I'm gonna be joyful. Today. I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart. Down in my heart, I got the joy down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the J-O-Y down in my heart, down in my heart, down in my heart. I got the joy down in my heart. Today.
We'd like to share with you a reading from Steve Garnis Holmes, and this one is called Daffodil. I don't have to save, but I can attend. To protect the tender ones, heal the wounded, vindicate the gentle, or to disturb or make righteous noise. I'm able with what I have. My despair, how the emperor counts on it, wants me to believe I lack power. But what I am given is enough. As among daffodils that brighten the hillside in late spring snow or freezing rain, miraculous powers are already granted. Busy as Martha or still as Mary, even the smallest butterfly wing muscle of compassion is all I am called to use. No one knows the power of small acts or stillness. The millions holding the world together by the thread of their prayers. This world is not aching for superheroes, but roadside daffodils. Well, our time today was in our planning session was a question was asked as we were gathered, and began to wrestle with a bit. It was, are we in this space talking about beloved community, or are we actually being beloved community? And so we wrestled with that for a little bit, and it is indeed our desire that we are being beloved community. And so with that, we wanted to invite you, as we and our preparation shared with each other, the question of what can beloved community hold for you? But before we do that, we should probably bring together Eric's law of what this space requires of us, invites of us, for it to be that safe place, that grace place for each other.
Tammy and I use these communication guides when we were doing race relations, and it's just a good way for us just to think about as we're talking with each other. What are some ways that we can get the most out of our conversation by just showing respect for each other? So, as you can see on the side there, respect is the ultimate goal of why these communication guidelines are suggested. So R is take responsibility for what you say and feel without blaming others. E, use empathetic listening. S, be sensitive to differences in communication, cultural styles. P, ponder what you hear and feel before you speak. E, examine your own assumptions and perceptions. C, keep confidentiality. And T, tolerate ambiguity because we're not here to debate. There are no winners or losers.
So we're inviting you into this space, into this bubble of beloved community, to share that question, to wrestle with that question, and to be vulnerable with one another about what it is that you're bringing to our community and how we might be able to hold it for you. I'll give you a minute, so I'll start. I've been wrestling with this since we had our initial conversation, and after I shared what I shared, I thought, well, that was really very shallow, and so then my judge was working overtime. But what I have been wrestling with this question ever since has bubbled up for me the concept of how is it that I came to understand what love is? And It's interesting as I think back on my life's journey and think about coming from a family which I felt where there was love, but I also recognized that there was a belief that if we purchase something for you, then we buy your love, and we owe you that love. That was one particular extended family member's approach that rang through pretty clearly. And then after that, as I thought about my relationships, my first marriage, and that was more about if you pay attention to me, then that must be what love means. And then as I thought about it more, I recognized that it wasn't until I really gained some clarity about love that neither of those were true. Neither of those were showing respect for who I was. And so in that, I have been blessed to have discovered through friendships and my relationship with Mike a greater and deeper understanding of what love is. And so I just wanted to share and bring to this space that for me, what I've been wrestling with and what I'm bringing is, what does it mean to love? Now you can go as shallow or as deep. Since I already confessed my first time around, I went pretty shallow. Your anything is game, but we invite you to share into this space that we hope and covet is a brave space for you.
Although I don't often go right away. You know, today I am very tired, and I think it's still the carryover from being at Churchwide last week, and which was a very good experience, but just very exhausting. You know, and grateful for a time to sit in my office and get things done, do some planning for the fall and school year. And, you know, I chose to log on today to be intentional about making this a priority on my Wednesdays as much as I can. And instead of going home and taking a nap, I'll do that after this. But you know, I have shared often that my journey with my daughter Annika and her mental illness, and that's part of the exhaustion, is that it's not going to simply go away. It's just part of our story right now. So and that my work at church is actually a whole lot easier than life parenting her at this point and having her in my home, which I've been working to find a different placement for her, but it has not worked yet. So anyway, last week, I do have one little story though. Last week at Churchwide, I listening to the elections report and looked at the screen of the name of the person presenting it and realized that I knew her, and we haven't seen each other since 97. She was the daughter of my first colleague in ministry way back between 1990 and 95. But it was just so fun to see her and to catch up on her life and all that. And so plenty of blessings. I am incredibly blessed. And I am even blessed to have my daughter, Annika. I'm not going to, it's a challenge for her as much as it is for me. So that's who I am today. Ready just to listen and be inspired, then go take a nap.
Thank you, Becky, for sharing. And it is interesting, the music of Joy, Joy, Joy that we just heard helped to lift me a little bit in this time because life is heavy. We do carry a lot. And where's the safe space for us to let it out, to let go, to share, so that we don't have to carry that heavy burden by ourselves all the time. So thank you for your vulnerability and your sharing.
And I guess I can go next, seeing that Becky had shared a little about Churchwide Assembly. So I was there. Sorry I didn't get to meet you there, Beck, in person, but hopefully next time in Iowa, if I'm being selected as part of our Southeast Bend. Anyway, so one of the things that I was reflecting after the Churchwide Assembly is we have elected our new presiding bishop and our new secretary. And I think the spirit was moving for our final vote because both votes were fifth ballots. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the first time African American both positions. So while I sense the spirit moving at the churchwide assembly, I am wondering how would that reflect as a church, as a countrywide? While there may be representative for each synod there, I wonder how that will translate now that we have these two African American leadership in the ELCA. If we are going to be supportive, or are we it's going to be challenging? I mean, challenge is always that, but you guys got my drift, right? That's what I am struggling with. How would we continue to be full church, supporting these leadership positions? So that's one. Yesterday we had, every first Tuesday of the month, we had what we call shared meals at our congregation I serve, Redeemer Lutheran Church in Pendle. Shout out to them. It's an opportunity for anyone in the community, especially people who we consider in transition, especially those who will need a meal. And so I came out of that gathering and I was just sitting down on a bench outside and was just reflecting. Why is it that we have these situations when we are considered the richest country in the whole world? And it kind of bothered me in the sense that, yeah, I preach the good news, feed the poor, clothe the naked, and so forth. But I'm saying to myself, what am I really doing? Talking about love, Tammy, how do I express my love for God through these opportunities that are presented? I mean, it's great to offer a meal once a month, but is that all we can do, or are there more that we can? So I was struggling with that. They also, my gosh, I'm gonna have to take that later. I'll listen to my phone while they're ringing there. But yesterday evening also, it was kind of like a community night out, and so I was able to attend there a little. And they have a group that oh my gosh, restoring something. I forgot their name, but anyway, they are talking about how can we house people who are in transition. They are more like the housing program. And so I share my information with them. And my hope is that as a congregation and congregation leader, we can able to collaborate and communicate how we can as a congregation to help support that ministry. I know our church building is not big enough, but I know there are other church building in our area, especially in Lutheran context, where I believe they can use their space to do some of these housing if necessary. So that's one of the things I was kind of wrestling with. Tammy had shared a little earlier about this space. And as a good true Lutheran, I think I'm a Lutheran. I don't know what you guys, but I think I'm a Lutheran because it's both and. And so the question of a beloved community, I believe we are here as a beloved community to support, but also to talk. So we participate as beloved community, but also have discussion about how to be beloved community. So I would say both and for our space here. I think that's a Lutheran thing, right? And lastly, we heard the song Joy. I have just recently learned of this. The word joy stands for Jesus, others, and then you.
Hmm.
So as I'm thinking of ministry, let's put Jesus first of what we are doing, Let's put others because that's what Jesus calls us to do, to love others as ourselves, and then you. So that's what brings me joy. And I thought I share that with you as we gather this space. I'll be more than happy to entertain any question you may have for me. Thanks.
Love in action is what I hear in that. Thank you. Thank you.
I've also been thinking a lot about the historic elections that took place, which brought me a great deal of hope. Um, but I'm also a skeptical person and living in a kind of I feel kind of pushed down just by the current state of the world. And just like, you know, I feel like our country keeps saying, well, we elected Obama, so we're good. We're post-racial. And I'm terribly afraid that we're going to rest on our laurels now. Um, well, we did it. We elected two African Americans to the top offices of the ELCA. We're good now. But I pray that we don't get complacent and that we actually do the work that I know that they can lead us in doing. I'm absolutely confident. But I did read somebody posted a prayer that said, "Don't allow them not to assimilate." And that's I fear that there will be so much harm done and trauma done to try to get these powerful leaders to assimilate. In my demon class, we've been talking about change management models and how several of them have basically you have to create sense of urgency. And one of them says you have to shatter the current culture. And we're debating about that right now about what that looks like. And it sounds to me like, the Reformation movement that wanted to do away with the ELCA Constitution and start from scratch, like that, I feel like could be shattering. But the movement so far until now has gotten us here, but I just wonder, is it enough? Do we need to like break everything and start over again? Which is, we're a church of dying and resurrection. And do we really, is this going to be enough to change our white supremacist culture, or can we do it, or do we really need to die and be, resurrected?
Thanks, Stephanie. Great question. And I guess I keep going back to, and what is my role in that?
My biggest struggle is working just with our Senate. We did get we're suing in terms of the sanctuary for the churches as a Senate. So that part is positive, but now it just to keep the pressure up to do something. So sometimes it's just overwhelming. And like one of our colleagues was talking about with the new presiding bishop and secretary that we need to support. And that's just like us supporting our bishop in the effort that of the suit. But on the other hand, there's other stuff that has not been addressed. So it's a constant battle. So I feel like this has been a beloved community and having that space to share that.
Thank
It's
you.
what sustains me in my ministry.
Thank you.
Like others have shared, I was at the assembly, and like Becky, I saw someone who went to seminary, and she's now going to be bishop. So, and I hadn't seen her since seminary, so it was good to see people that I hadn't seen for a while. Um, the election, I was happy, but I have to say, I wish it was a different climate in the country when this happened because I'm just fearful for how for their safety, for how they'll be treated. This has just been a very difficult time in this country, and I don't. Um, I'm a little fearful. Um, I'm hoping people will support them, but I don't know. And so I'm a little apprehensive. I'm a little apprehensive. I'm just. I guess I'm feeling like um, we don't have enough beloved community now, right? Otherwise, I perhaps wouldn't have this fear. And what's going on in the country makes me question if we can ever have it. I'm dedicated to this, but I worry, and I don't know. I try to be optimistic. Tammy helps me with that, but yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm saying that a beloved community is what I would like to see as the ultimate goal, and I thank you all for participating. I hope we can continue this because I think this is a pivotal moment in this country, and this is maybe perhaps the best time for us to be trying to do this. But it's going to take a lot of work, and we need to be united and supportive of each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love that, Brenda, because the lectionary, the gospel for this Sunday is do not worry, do not be afraid. And Jesus is preparing his disciples for the next round. And I do believe that the walking through the wilderness that COVID brought us through, we're really walking through the wilderness, has brought us to this new next round. And, how are we as Lutherans or Christians going to support each other? And it's a time for us to rally. And it's a time for us to truly come back to our Jesus Revolution days of the 70s. I don't know how old all of you are, but I've watched that movie over and over and over again, and I've shown the movie to the congregations that I serve. And we're really in this next phase, I believe, of Christendom that calls us to be more radical and to be welcoming whoever the hippies are this day. I was talking to Brenda yesterday. That's the only reason why I'm on this call is because she invited me again. And I've kind of missed it, but the 5 years that I've been here, I've been kind of out of the loop. And that's one of the things that when you're not connected to Churchwide or your DEM really isn't connecting you to Churchwide, you get kind of lost in the shuffle of things, right? But I do believe that this next chapter, this next round that God is calling us to requires a beloved community. Otherwise, um, Richard Father has a wonderful speak now. If you've watched him or read his commentaries, it's about wisdom and how Jesus does it alone. Jesus did it alone. We are called independently to do it alone, but also gather people who are like-minded around to support us as we do this next round. And I think that that's going to be the title of my sermon. It wasn't until Brenda was talking did I really realize that yeah, we are being called to the next Jesus revolution, and we are being called in this next round to have no fear. 365 times it says, have no fear, do not be afraid, take charge, like take good heart. So when we encourage one another, when we can name, that's how we love each other, so that we can do the next step. So that I love Bishop Eaton. She said at one of the last recorded interviews with her, someone asked her, did she like her job? Did she like being presiding bishop? And she said, it's a call. It's a call. Because quite frankly, we don't like it a lot of times. Because we lose their vision, and it's very difficult to bring them back around again. So I guess that's my encouragement and my struggle for this day.
Thanks, Christina.
I did want to share some good news. I was able to deliver 800 prayer birds to the All Nations Indian Church in Minneapolis. And I had contacted them through their portal and didn't get any response. So then I asked Tammy if she had a direct connect, way for me to connect. So she suggested someone at the Senate staff. And so they forwarded my email, and then got permission to give my Dr. Kelly's email. Anyway, so then I contacted her directly, and I got no response. But I went ahead because I felt called, and because of what we've been telling, like there's always going to be that perfect plan that you have that I was saying now. So I just sent her an email and said, this is the date I'm showing up. And then I get to the church and it's locked. But they got, I guess there was the doorbell, but before I pressed that, then one of the members let me in. And then she was going to take some of the prayer birds to the Senate Assembly. But I had a nice worship and fellowship with them.
All of the various ways in which we share that love helps us to form that beloved community. And so as we asked that question and wrestled with that question as we prepared for our time today, we really felt like for us it was a time of balm. There was healing in the process for us. There was this place that was a safe place, a grounding place for us to just show up and be us. And that is, I guess, our prayer for this space as we continue to provide a grace place for us to be together. So I wonder, team, what is next? I remember two options. So I guess maybe the opportunity for us to just hear some music, to meditate, or for us to enter into a time of prayer. As community, I invite your voice. What is it that would feel right to you in this time?
I'll just, so that people know too, I have I think a great sending song. So like a good 5 minutes towards the end. So we have that as well. That's coming soon. If that sways your decision at all.
Music can be prayer. So I don't know whether that's either or.
Thank you.
You mean we can pray while we're doing other things?
Well, let's listen to some music, Jason.
Do you have preference on, do we want some more joy or something more contemplative?
Thumbs up for joy, thumbs down for contemplative. Thumbs up. All right.
Maybe more down? Is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
So, what has been balm for you?
Do you mean today or in general?
Today.
Slowing down and breathing.
Thank you.
Friends and family are always a balm for me. So to have my dear friend Christina be on the call, it's been balm.
Mm. Thank you.
For me, just being here in this space have always been a very helpful space for me. And again, to be reminded of our gospel for this week, where Jesus says, "Do not be afraid."
Thank you. And Becky shares her huskies, who are always happy to see her. Time of authentic sharing and connection. Yeah. So, as we get ready to come to a close in this time, sometimes I invite folks to come up with a one word prayer that we can hold them in. And so, what is the one word that would be a prayer for us as beloved community to hold for each of us?
I would say remaining steadfast.
Steadfast. We've got integrity and hope and love. For some reason, this word is coming to me, and I'm not sure exactly why, but stick-to-itiveness, which is a kind of a funny word, but just how easily I think as beloved community in any movement, you can grow weary of the work that is to be done. And so my word is stick-to-itiveness. Spirituality.
The word for me is peace.
Peace.
And I will add faithfulness, and really pointing to the faithfulness of God. One of my devotional readings this week was from the 31st chapter of Deuteronomy, where Moses is preparing the people. Friends, I'm 120 years old. I'm tired. And there's another leader coming after me. And Moses does a beautiful job of pointing to the faithfulness of God, and that God says again and again, just even in those 8 verses, those first 8 verses of the 31st chapter of Deuteronomy, God goes before you and God goes with you. And just, yeah. And that's not meant to diminish any of the concern or fear that I'm hearing in the room. And when I refocus on that faithfulness of God and that God's already there in that future that we're stepping into, that's a game changer for my heart.
Amen.
I'm hoping I'm not speaking it out of term, but that helps me for my sermon preparation for Sunday. God got you. Do not be afraid.
Amen. So shall we do our closings and then we'll listen to our song as we come to wrap it up? All right.
Joe, would you like me to do the events? So just a couple things coming up. In partnership with, bear with me, I forgot the name. Pull that back up. The National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition, excuse me. Next week, they're hosting Remembering the Children and Their Memory in Our Voice on Tuesday. And on Wednesday in this space, we will have our reading circle. And we are on chapter, it's the 8th month, chapter 8. And also then next month in this space, the first Wednesday, which is September 3rd, we'll do another round of healing together.
All right. And so friends, I need to check in with the planning team. I was not able to be on early. Do I ask the question from the slide that you showed me when I first logged on? Or go straight to our ending?
We have a couple minutes if you want to ask the question.
Yeah, so another question that we sometimes bring to this space that really points back to coaching is, what is your next most faithful step? When you reflect on everything that's happened in this space, in this hour, what is your next most faithful step? What you're taking away from this time together? Feel free to put in the chat or unmute and share.
When I hear and listen to all of your voices, my next faithful step is looking at how beloved community reaches into segments of our world, whether that's little groups of folks who are in congregations or in communities who want to see beloved community that loves and expresses that love in action. So my, I guess, next faithful step is to just continue to move the needle on the invitation to join beloved community, not just in this space, but of course that'd be wonderful, but also in all of the places in which we walk. Who can you invite into that process?
Just for time. Sorry, Jill, go ahead.
No, you go, Jason, please.
No, because I was going to move us to the next thing, so please.
Okay, I just was going to read what Steph offered in, the chat. Steph offers, I need to contemplate much more deeply. God is already there. I want to aim myself at the future where God already is, not a step, but a recalibration. And I know our ending song is 5 minutes long, so I will say the closing line that I dearly love to say every time. Friends, as you leave this space, but wait for the song because it's wonderful, please know that you are seen, you are valued, and you indeed are loved. And we look forward to gathering with you again next week. Thank you to our facilitators today. God bless you, friends.
Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee. God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee. Healthy as the sun above. Melt the clouds of sin and sadness, drive the dark cloud away.
check the rhyme. Joyful, Lord, we adore thee. And in my life I put none before thee. Cause since I was a youngster, I came to know that you was the only way to go.
So I had to grow and come to an understanding that I'm down with the king. So now I'm demanding that you tell me who you down with, see? Cause all I know is that I'm down with G.O.D. You're down with G.O.D.
Yeah, you know me. You're down with G.O.D.
Yeah, you know me. You're down with G.O.D. Yeah, you know me. You're down with G.O.D. Everybody, gonna join the chorus, the mighty, mighty chorus, which the morning stars began. The Father of love is reigning over us.
By the way,
What have you done for him lately? Ooh, yeah. What have you done for him lately? He watches over everything, so we sing joyful, joyful, Lord, we adore thee. God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before thee. They'll be as the sun above. Now the clouds of sin and sadness drive the dark of doubt away. Drive it away in the running arms of gladness.
fill us with the light of day, Lord, fill us. Oh, we thank you, yes we do, fill us.
With the light of day, Lord, with the stars we pray, Lord, we need the light of day, Lord,
We need you, Jesus. We need you. I've been set. Fill us, fill us, fill us.
I love the smiles that I'm seeing on the faces of each of you. So thank you for being with us.